I'd like to welcome you to your City Commission meeting tonight, and we'll just ask if you could please silence or turn off your cell phones during the meeting, and remind everybody that our meetings are televised every day, available at Channel 2 at 6 p.m., and also available at midnight for viewing, and on YouTube. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let's call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by silent prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll get started with some proclamations here. As I call these out, please feel free to step up if you can. And please see. First one, we've got Sexual Assault Awareness Month. All right, whereas sexual violence is a widespread, preventable public health problem, a problem across all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and social barriers. And whereas sexual violence is any sexual act that is perpetrated against someone's will, which includes sexual assault, rape, unwanted touching, threatened sexual violence, and verbal sexual harassment, all types of sexual violence, all victims who do not consent, are unable to consent, or refuse to allow the act. And whereas over half of women and nearly 1 in 3 men experience some form of contact with sexual violence in their lifetime. And whereas 1 incident of rape is reported to Kansas law enforcement every 7 hours, 19 minutes, 6 seconds, over 5,300 people receive services for sexual assault from Kansas victim advocacy groups, organizations each year. And whereas these statistics do not represent the true prevalence of sexual violence due to underreporting, and whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need with access to medical and legal services, counseling, transitional housing so that they can, and whereas it is important we must strive to create strong, connected communities that take care of one another and make decisions to ensure the safety and well-being of others to end sexual violence. And whereas we encourage victims to seek free and confidential assistance from the Alliance Against Family Violence Hotline, which is number 913-675-7217. Now therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 2024 to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month. National Library Week. All right. Whereas libraries offer the opportunity for everyone to connect with others, learn new skills, and pursue their passions, no matter where they are on life's journey. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions, striving to ensure equitable access to information and services for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, developing and expanding collections, programs, and services that are as diverse as the populations they serve. And whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, understanding, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals. Now therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 7th through the 13th, 2024 as National Library Week. All right, moving on here to National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Gentlemen, both chiefs, this is awesome. All right, whereas emergencies that require police, fire, or emergency medical services can occur at any time, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Leavenworth Emergency Communication Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, now therefore I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 14th to 20th, 2024 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators. You guys, that's a good comment. If anybody wants to say anything up here too, you're definitely welcome. Leavenworth Spring Cleanup Day. Coming up on April 20th. Right, listen? Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
do you go ahead?
Yeah, okay, some comments after would be great. Whereas the City of Leavenworth City Commission is committed to working toward making the City of Leavenworth the most attractive, livable, healthy, and vibrant community possible, and whereas your elected leaders realize it takes the goodwill and hard work of all citizens to achieve such lofty visions, and are therefore encouraging all Leavenworth citizens to assume responsibility in maintaining a clean and attractive neighborhood environment, and whereas such collaborative efforts can serve to foster a sense of community, invigorate a sense of pride about the community, serve as an opportunity for organizational and leadership skill development, and reinforce the virtue of personal responsibility while resulting in a more attractive community with a higher quality of life. And whereas the spring cleanup kickoff will be held on Saturday, April 20th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. with a ceremony at Warren Educational Complex. Now therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 20th, 2024 to be Leavenworth Spring Cleanup Day.
So, on Saturday, April 20th, more than 800 volunteers will pick up trash throughout the city of Leavenworth. We will begin with a kickoff event 8:30 a.m. Saturday, April 20th at Warren Educational Campus in the cafeteria. Everyone is invited to enjoy coffee and donuts. Other services offered Saturday, April 20th for residents include behind the Municipal Service Center at 720 Lawrence Avenue. The recycling center will be open 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be a large item drop-off 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that is furniture, metal, mattresses, appliances, and other large items. And then the household hazardous waste will also be at that location from 9 a.m. to noon. That includes paints, household cleaning items, oils, pesticides, and any other types of cleaners that should not be placed down the drain. The brush site will also have hours from 8 a.m. to 3:50 p.m. and it's free for City of Leavenworth residents for disposal of yard waste, branches with no roots attached, and grass clippings. Proof of residency is checked at the gate. Free paper shredding will be held at Citizens Federal Savings Bank from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at their 4th Street location, which is 5151 South 4th Street, and 1 to 2 p.m. at Citizens Bank at 3112 South 5th Street. So thank you. We hope to see all of you guys there.
Okay, thanks for that. 1 second. And I'm going to do this a little bit backwards. Did anybody else that came up would like to speak at all?
Yeah,
Go ahead. Thank you, Commissioner Wilson, again.
Won't take too much of your time, but on a personal note, I'd like to say that I've proudly served the library in this community now for 10 years. I passed that milestone in March. It's been a great privilege to work with board admin team in a community that really loves its library. It's really coming to work every day is a real pleasure. And I just thank you all very much for recognizing the library and its role in the community with this proclamation and your continued support that I've experienced for the last 10 years. So thank you again. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes from March 26, 2024, regular meeting, and April 2nd, 2024, special meeting.
I move that we approve both sets of minutes for the regular meeting on the 26th of March and the special meeting on the April the 2nd, 2024.
Okay, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Commissioner, all right.
Sorry.
Motion carried 5-0. Second consideration ordinance number 8240, rezoning 46 Limit Street from medium-density single-family residential to high-density single-family residential.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, there have been no changes since the first reading. As a quick reminder, this is basically just going from 1 lot to 3 lots. The 3 lots still far exceed the lot width for high density single family. The goal there is just to get a few more houses on a piece of property in the city, so we're able to have a few more lots. So no changes, no comments from the public.
Okay, no other questions? Sorry, guys, I ate dinner not too long ago. We'll just do a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Hinkler.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right. New business public comment. Sarah, do we have anybody?
We do, Mr. Gerard Overby.
Okay. We'll just, Mr. Overby, if you could come up to the mic, state your name and address, and just like to remind everybody, this is limited to 2 to 3 minutes. There's no action that will be taken by the commission on public items tonight.
Okay, my name is Gerard Overby, 4108 Grand Avenue. Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I would like to request your support for my appointment to the Leavenworth Library Board. I have a master's degree in information management, a key attribute in library professionals. I was humbled when Mayor Martin offered to appoint me to this position. Among other issues, I want to be a steward of the taxpayers' money by looking at all aspects of obligated and committed funds and their funding streams. This way, the board can work in conjunction with the commission, not in stark contrast. I want to ensure the viability of the library to support the community in all its educational endeavors. I respectfully request your support and vote in favor of my appointment this evening. And thank you very much for your consideration and time in this matter. Good evening.
Okay, thank you. Moving on then to next item, mayor's appointment. I, Mayor Martin, move to appoint to the library board Gerard Overby to a term ending April 30th, 2028, and to reappoint Melissa Davis to a term ending April 30th, 2028.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
No. Before I make my vote, I received several emails, concerns from constituents stating that they desire to prevent our library board from becoming politicized. So therefore, I'm going to listen to the constituents, and my vote is no as well.
And before I give my vote, obviously, excuse me, I've already moved to appoint Mr. Overby. I received also a number of emails as well. Definitely almost doubled the amount in favor as opposed to against. And so I'm going to listen to my constituents as well on this matter. I think it is something we need to take serious consideration of for our library. And as people talk about the quality of life here in our city, definitely a lot of people care about what the library offers and how we're connected and how everybody's voice should be heard. So I vote yes.
After hearing from library board members, the admin team, and several constituents, they were not in favor of having Mr. Overby. I'm going to also vote with my constituents and vote no.
Aye.
All right, motion failed 2-3. Moving on with the, excuse me, I'm sorry, everybody. Next item tonight, Resolution B 2363, Spring Cleanout Sidewalk Sales Special Event Street Closure for Possession and Consumption of Alcohol.
This will be handled by Sarah Bodenstein, the city clerk.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, before you this evening for consideration is a resolution approving the First City Creative special event known as the Spring Cleanout Sidewalk Sale, which would close motor vehicle traffic to specific streets and allow for the possession and consumption of alcoholic liquor. The street closure request was approved by the governing body at the February 13th commission meeting, contingent upon agreement regarding trash and the towing or moving of vehicles with the event coordinator. Such agreement has been reached, and we're now ready to request approval of tonight's resolution to allow the alcohol portion of their event. The event is scheduled to take place on Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The streets that will be closed are the 400 to 600 block of Delaware, and from 5th Street from Shawnee Street to Cherokee Street. So by approving this resolution, this would allow the event to have the alcohol within the confines of the street closure. The alcohol-friendly area will be clearly marked and roped off within the event footprint per state regulations. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I do believe event coordinator Carrie Parrott is here this evening as well.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Questions, anybody? Comments?
No, sounds
We
good to
discussed
me.
it pretty well.
Looking forward to it.
Same.
Okay. I don't have any other questions either, so I just need a motion.
Well, I move that we adopt and approve Resolution B 2363 as presented.
Second.
Motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengler.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. Resolution B 2364, Stay Fired Up Gravel Grinder Special Event, street closure for possession and consumption of alcohol.
All right, I'm back. So, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, before you this evening is another resolution approving the Santa Fe Trails Bicycle and Coffee Shop Special Event, Stay Fired Up Gravel Grinder, which would close motor vehicle traffic to specific streets and allow for possession and consumption of alcohol. This annual street closure event has shifted plans for this year and would like to have the alcohol within the confines of the street closure. This event would take place on Sunday, April 28th from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the streets that would be closed would be the 400 block of Delaware Street and 5th Street between Shawnee Street and Cherokee Street. Again, by approving this resolution, this would allow the event to have the alcohol within the confines of the street closure, and the alcohol area would be clearly marked and roped off per state guidelines.
Okay, any questions?
I've been attending this event, it's a great event, it brings lots of people to our community, stay in our hotels, they shop in our downtown, so definitely in favor of it.
Okay. I have no questions either. So with that, just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt and approve resolution B 2364.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. Item 7, resolutions for Commonwealth Development Corporation Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Project.
Excited to turn this item over to Penny Holler, the Assistant City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. Commonwealth Development Corporation reached out to the city regarding their plans to develop an affordable housing project with 43 units. They plan to apply for tax credits through the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation. That program utilizes scoring criteria to distribute low-income housing tax credits to eligible projects. Commonwealth Development Corporation requested a letter of support from the city for their application. They also requested the city agree to waive certain development fees and authorize $8.7 million in industrial revenue bonds, items that are included in the low-income housing tax credit scoring criteria. The IRBs allow project materials to be purchased exempt from sales tax. The city incurs no fees for that process and is under no financial obligation for those bonds. With us tonight with Commonwealth Development Corporation is Danny D. Francesco, who's here to provide further details on the proposed project.
Thanks, Penny.
Push it again.
Yeah. Good? Yep. Okay, awesome. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Pleased to present our proposal of 2nd Avenue Commons located on 2604 2nd Avenue. As Penny mentioned, I am Danny DeFrancesco with Commonwealth Development, Vice President of Development. So really just want to give a brief presentation of who Commonwealth is, what our proposal is, and kind of just give the timeline of our project for 43 units of affordable housing here in Leavenworth. So I think the first thing is who is Commonwealth Development? So we are a national affordable housing developer based out of Madison, Wisconsin. We are active in roughly over 15 states. We're primarily in the Midwest. We developed over 8,100 units, as I mentioned, over 15 states. You know, we've been voted best affordable housing developer in the states that we're active in. We are a large affordable housing developer, but what we do like to stress is that we are very integrated within the communities. We're a long-term owner, which I like to say is we build, develop, and we stay here. We don't develop and then sell 3 years down the road. So we really, again, are very integrated with the communities that we work in. So as I mentioned, the site that we're looking at is located on 2604 2nd Avenue. It's a 5-acre site. You probably may have seen a previous proposal from the current owner where they received tax credits, I want to say, back in 2020. And that project ended up not moving forward. But When speaking with this current owner, we viewed this as a very attractive site, one, with being in the city of Leavenworth and being competitive to apply for the tax credits to KHRC, as well as being, off of 4th Street and being kind of along that main corridor. With KHRC, to be competitive in receiving these tax credits, it's very location-based in the type of project that you're offering to the agency. And so again, this is, a couple blocks from the Anthony Elementary School, a couple blocks down to Cody Park, again, along the main corridor and the grocery stores, all within like a half mile. So it's a very site where we think we're gonna be very competitive to apply for these tax credits. So the proposal is 43 units, which will be composed of 16 one-bedrooms, 16 two-bedrooms, and 11 three-bedrooms. So we want to have a wide variety to propose. So families, individuals, as well as seniors can have the option to live there. I'll show some photos here in a bit, but it will have private entry patios. It's going to be single-story cottages is kind of what we call it. And for this particular site, being around single family, what we don't want to do is stick out like a sore thumb and build a 3-story mid-rise. So we always have various product types depending on the location. And so it makes the most sense to have single-story private entry where you're not on top of your neighbors and you're able to blend in with the neighborhood that this project would be in. There would be a clubhouse building right off the entry of 2nd Avenue, and what that will have is a community room where residents can gather. They can rent the space out for free, if they want to have a birthday party or celebrate holidays. There will be a leasing office with a full-time leasing staff as well as maintenance on site. Exercise room, a business center that will have computers for the residents to use, free of use, as well as a barbecue area and community patio. There will be a playground as well for kids. The unit features are typically what you see in, typical market rate developments. We'll have in-unit washer and dryers. It's just a zoomed in version. So this would be the rendering that we have. And again, this is really tailoring to the design standards that KHRC requires. And then these are just elevations. But again, really, this is kind of like an example of one of the clubhouse buildings we've done on other projects. Again, community space for residents to gather and be able to use at their disposal. Playground, as we mentioned, will be on this site. And then here's a layout of the 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. Again, it's pretty standard features that you'll see. Standard appliances, vinyl plank flooring, ceiling fans. Again, in-unit washer and dryers, which is, a big item that we always include in all our developments now. Walk-in closets. And then this is just kind of like a highlight of our overall sources and uses for the project. Again, we're working with a property manager that's based out of Wichita, Kansas, so they really know the Kansas market well, as well as a local GC, or they're out of Wichita, Kansas as well. So, we really do partner with people within Kansas while we get, integrated here. And then this is the overall timeline. So we plan to submit our tax credit application to the state agency in May with an award announcement sometime mid to late July. And then once we receive the award, we then reach out to, your lenders and investors and finalize that sometime in August of this year. And then we will have to replat the property. And I've been working with Julie and Michelle over in planning on that process. So obviously, when that time comes, we'll come back before that for action on that. We will plan to have drawings complete in November, which then we'll submit to the city for review. And in speaking, it sounds like it's 2 to 3 month timeline to review those plans. Hopefully break ground beginning of next year with a 14 month construction schedule to be complete in hopefully spring of 2026. Yeah, so, and with that, I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you might have.
Are these going to be on a slab?
Yep, slab on grade, yep.
So this community center, will it also be a tornado shelter?
It can be, so we would look at that and designing it for that function. So we will ideally do that. we have done storm shelters on other properties. We do have properties in Oklahoma where you have a clear out storm shelter. So if that's needed, we can look at that, but typically.
We have had tornadoes here.
Yeah, no, but typically we'll build the clubhouse building to that standard for tornadoes.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. I think they look.
Could you go back to, probably about the third slide, all the way back there?
Yep. Tell me when to stop.
Keep going. There. What is that? I'm assuming that north is up.
Yep.
What is that that's south of the area that you're looking at doing?
That is the gas,
Kansas Gas.
Kansas Gas and Westar.
Okay,
the building, yep.
Evergy.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we've been speaking with the
talked about
owner
it
who
before.
received this previous award and currently selling, had the approval for apartments. There was no issues
Yeah.
with the
No,
development here.
That's no problem. Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead, you done? I'm sorry, I cut you off, didn't I?
No, go ahead.
Or what is the rent gonna be?
Yeah, so we have a wide variety, which means, so there's what they call the area median income. And so we have rents from the 30% area median income up to the 60%. So for example, one bedroom is $777, a two bedroom is $940, and a three bedroom is $1,200 or $1,225 is the average between those 1, 2s, and 3s. So for example, like some of the, we'll have 1, 2s, and 3s for 30%, 1 and 2s for 40%, and then 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms at 50 and 60. So we really try to spread it out to have, multiple residents be able to hit whether they're a 1 bedroom or 2 or what they seek.
Awesome. And your GC, is that a Wichita? Will they subcontract with our local? Or do they bring them in?
I would imagine they would want to.
Okay.
Usually you get more favorable pricing, especially with nowadays. It's just, I think it's easier. So obviously they have their crews. We're hands off, but we do realize that's a big thing to people. So like obviously we'll step in when we need to, to help them, and it makes sense to partner with locals and really kind of establish that base. And hopefully we can do more than one project in Leavenworth, and you kind of build that
That's what I wanted to hear.
relationship.
Are they handicap accessible?
Yeah, there will be some. So there's, I believe it's between 10%. Is
Okay.
typically what we set aside.
Since this is targeted toward older adults, I just wondered about that.
It's for
Families.
multi-family, but seniors as well. Yep, but there will be accessibility. Yep.
Okay.
And we always
sorry.
develop like the tubs and showers to have future grab bars if that
Okay.
resident so needs it. So we always have that
Wider
choice.
doorways and that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. DeFrancesco, can you tell me, and I may have missed it if you already mentioned it, is there anything specifically that you guys have tied into this that's going to speak to kind of the regular upkeep, what's going to go on a continual basis? Is there any elements of that you could speak to that will be ensured that's going to be a well-maintained area or anything like that?
Like an HOA? Yeah, so
Well, anything.
Yeah, there's no HOA. So yeah, we rely on our property manager on the comps. So obviously there's snow removal, the trash, like in seasonal landscaping. So yeah, we make sure like you have a contract.
But as far as exteriors go or anything like that, regular upkeep, who's responsible?
Yeah, it's our maintenance staff that'll be on there. So obviously if there's, issues with the exterior, right, that gets brought up, and then our maintenance typically handles it with, whoever the local subs that they're gonna work with. So yeah, it's on the property and the owner to maintain, the exterior look.
Okay, so Mr. Kramer, is that something as we move along that can be built into any agreements, standards that need to be maintained?
So just by the fact that they're in the city of Leavenworth, they are required to meet all of our property maintenance standards. So that's sort of the default, but everything that's on the books, they would be they would be compelled to comply with. If they had any code violation, they would be required to fix that. If you're talking about additional requirements, you'd really have to get into that discussion about what they would be.
Okay.
We would have landscape requirements on the development. The development regulations, developments sometimes have landscape requirements. They have stormwater requirements. And then, of course, just in the standard property maintenance code, they gotta keep grass and weeds, to certain levels and items like that, so.
Okay, okay. I just got my wheels
Yep,
turning, so.
absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, they also have a fairly extensive portfolio, so considering this is the first stage in the process that they're working with the city, if that's something we wanted to contact a couple other cities that have some of their properties and, just get some general information, we could certainly do that as we go through this process.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad thing or anything. I think, I'm all for affordable housing for sure. I think the general thought is sometimes, because it may not, the guidelines might be a little bit different, and, I think we've been doing a good job to try to keep working on keeping things up to certain standards, as Mr. Kramer mentioned, a certain code. So I definitely would not be opposed to seeing, a few elements. Ms. Holler?
Mr. Mayor, your property maintenance code shouldn't really be much different than this. These are all going to be, I'm going to assume all the properties will be owned by one owner at some point. So these, and there's not going to be, this will still have to go through all the zoning and site plan approvals process, but unless this was a conditional use permit or special use permit, you wouldn't be putting on things that are not just otherwise required by your zoning codes, and otherwise that's why you have your property maintenance codes and such. So though there might be an affordable housing component as part of this type of application for tax credits, otherwise you would treat this from a zoning and planning perspective really no different than you would any other type of multifamily development that might be in the city.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Waters. What was going through my head was when some other groups have come into the city before and they've spoken specifically to that, like, hey, we're gonna do this and this and this, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's kind of.
Yeah,
Getting assurances from the developer is certainly one thing, and entering into a relationship with them that of one you trust is one thing.
Right.
That might be a little bit different than what you can actually legally put on.
Sure.
A permit of some kind that would be
No, I
different.
totally
than
understand.
Be applicable to others.
and I will say, I'm not sure, obviously, when we submit our city plans, the plan reviewer will see, there will be a landscape plan included, so you'll see what that consists of. And, yeah, I mean, we're happy to provide references, but yeah, we are, like I mentioned, we're long-term owners, so.
Sure.
We don't wanna build and then we don't just
Just
leave it
flipping
and
it around.
forget it and be a
Yeah.
bad neighbor and, just have weeds growing. It's not what we do and not what we stand for, so, yeah, we, take pride in it, and, it's just, any other development where we have a seasonal landscape contract, so that vendor will come twice a week or whatever you have to do to, mow the lawns and do the snow removal and all that, and also make the tenants happy as well.
Okay.
And you'll have an on-site property manager.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maintenance. Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yep.
that. I don't have any other questions about this. So just need a motion then.
I move approval of a resolution B 2365, resolution of support.
Second.
All right, we'll begin voting with Commissioner Hinkle.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. Right, item B, resolution B 2366, non-binding industrial revenue bond resolution.
I move approval of resolution B 2366, non-binding industrial revenue bond resolution.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. And then item C, approval of fee waiver letter.
I move approval of the fee waiver letter.
I second it.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hinkle.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
All right, item 8, consider approval of the City of Leavenworth 2024 Title IV plan under their bids, contracts, and agreements.
Mayor and Commission,
6.
the item before you is to consider approving the revised Title VI plan. This is a requirement to receive federal funding through KDOT. It lays out the city's plan for non-discrimination in the use of those funds. Examples of that action are bids and contracts. That includes the non-discrimination language. It's for our contractors, and they're required to also use that for their subcontractors. The plan also designates the Assistant City Manager as a Civil Rights Coordinator and establishes a formal process for complaints. The plan has been reviewed and approved by the KDOT Office of Civil Rights Compliance. If the Commission approves, it will be signed by KDOT and updated on the city's website. The document is reviewed regularly, but only comes to the City Commission once every 5 years. And with that, I'm available for questions if there are any.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else?
None.
Okay, just need a motion.
Written out pretty good.
I move approval of the City of Leavenworth's 2024 Title VI Plan.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
You
Aye.
good, you good.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passed 5-0.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to first consideration ordinances, item 9. First consideration ordinance to rescind special use permits. Sarah?
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, before you this evening for consideration is an ordinance that rescinds certain special use permits. The special use permit allowing auto salvage or junkyard at 235 Marion Street was approved on April 23rd, 1985 by passage of ordinance 6771. The auto salvage owner has advised staff that they have since closed the business and would not be renewing the special use permit. The special use permit allowing a child care center at 2715 Old Creek Court was approved on January 10th, 2006 by passage of ordinance 7683. The child care owner has advised staff that they have closed the child care center and would not be renewing the special use permit. As such, both special use permits no longer are applicable to the properties, and tonight we are seeking consensus to place this ordinance on first consideration to rescind those special use permits.
Makes sense.
Close. Good.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. So that just need a motion.
Consensus.
Consent.
Oh,
No, it's
consensus,
consensus.
yeah.
Consensus.
Aye, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Yep.
Yep.
All right, cool. Moving on, item 10. Thank you, Sarah. First consideration ordinance for general obligation bond, series 2024-A.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, this is a continuation of the first step that we did 2 weeks ago when we did the resolution to authorize the issuance of GO bonds. These are related to Fire Station number 3 and the wastewater treatment admin building. So this is the next action in the series to issue that debt. There have been no changes in the amount that the City Commission authorized to issue. And the first consideration ordinance is before you tonight for consensus.
Questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Chiefs? Doesn't have any? Yeah. No, I don't have any questions either then on this. I guess, any updates, Mr. Kramer, on status?
We've had it on the agenda for actually tonight, and we pushed it back, hopefully 2 weeks, maybe into May. We're finalized with basically the floor plan. We're finishing up some of the exterior finishes, to ensure that it's consistent with some of our other fire stations, and we're there. I think we're really close. I think the wastewater admin building is ready, but we want to have them come at the same time because they're being paid from the same obligation bonds and they're under the same design build contract. So had they been completely separate, we'd probably be ready with the one. They've got the design and stuff like that, but we're getting close on the fire station. So
Okay. And maybe-
here soon.
No, that's cool. Maybe in the future, some of these big projects where we're spending a lot of money, maybe we can do like a post-project analysis or something like that
Absolutely.
during a study session, just kind of look like, okay, like,
Yep.
what went great, what didn't,
Yeah.
things like that,
It's
so.
our largest design build too, so we'll examine how the design build process went on this one, and is it appropriate for future projects.
Okay, perfect. Don't have any other questions then, so let's need another motion.
Consensus.
Consensus, I'm sorry, thank you, Nancy. Oh, okay,
Yes.
I'm good with it.
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
I move we approve claims from March 22nd, 2024 through April 4th, 2024 in the amount of $1,161,487.94. Net amount for payroll number 6, effective March 22nd, 2024, in the amount of $406,640.05. Police and fire pension in the amount of $7,491.38.
Second.
All right, motion is second. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. And with that, we'll go around the table. Mr. Kramer? got any-
Yeah, I did have something tonight. Spring is one of my favorite times of the year here in Leavenworth. We've come out of sort of the winter. We're getting ready for the budget time, which isn't as fun, but in the spring, driving around this weekend and talking to staff for the last couple of days, there's a lot of excitement. Cody Park, if you haven't driven out there, will be the first dedicated pickleball complex, Leavenworth County, designed with resident and pickleball input, approved by the city commission. I think it's gonna be an amazing amenity along with the basketball court out there, and they are moving fast. Baseball and softball registrations have exploded for the second straight year. We'll probably set a record. We'll have final numbers here in the next week or two. So whatever we're doing with youth sports in Leavenworth, it's working. I appreciate the commission's support. Parks and Rec's staff report on that. We'll get some numbers. I think last year we were at 340 kids in that program, and I think we'll exceed that this year. Stubby Park shelter reservations, good luck getting one. That shelter has been a huge addition to our community. This weekend, drove out there on Sunday, and there were cars all along 3rd Street. There were people in the shelter. You couldn't find a spot, so it was great to see. We've already awarded the first time ever that the pavement management will start in May. They'll start asphalt in May. They're already starting concrete repairs. We have work on 10th Avenue, huge sections of 10th Avenue, huge sections of Shrine Park, 7th Street, and so I think that'll make a huge difference. Bids came in really good. We added all our ad alternates, and we should start seeing paving in May. Probably one of the best partnerships that the city has that kind of goes under the radar is our partnership with the Leavenworth Soccer Association. Back in the mix with the smallest child of mine, back into LSA, and so we're out there this weekend, and that's just a reminder that partnership is between the city staff, city commission, and the LSA. What a group of volunteers, and that's going extremely well. Trails continuation, sidewalk, Baker Construction finished sidewalk repairs at 10th Avenue Park, David Brewer Park, working on the Arbor Way as we continue to try to improve what we have and keep the trails and sidewalks in good working order for our residents. As we approach the start of the Woolman season, lifeguard participation is great. We have a great number of young people in that, and that's almost solely because of the leadership at the Woolman Aquatic Center and our aquatic staff, that these kids who could get better paying jobs maybe somewhere else in the area continue to come back year after year because of the leadership out there. So I want to put that out there. Come out this year, the painting and the kiddie pool, which the commission approved and was completed last year, will have its first full year. So the pool should look refreshed and nice. And again, we're gearing up for the second season of the splash park and the shelter out there. So really exciting here in the spring as we come into summer. So I wanted to point out some of those good news things that I've been talking to staff about the last week or two.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Kramer.
Yep.
Mr. Engel?
I don't have anything, I mean, how do you follow that?
Yeah, that's a good update.
You know, that was really good. I'm glad to hear so much is going on and that so many people are wanting to take part in it, you know, get active out there. So, and I'll try to join them soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
How much do we rent those shelters for? Do you know? Off the top of your
I
head?
wouldn't want to give you the wrong number
Okay,
off
so
the
we
top
do-
of my
we
head.
do
It's
rent them.
very reasonable, but yeah,
wonder if we
they
could-
are rented.
Build more of those if they're so popular. I mean, obviously the budget.
We
but-
certainly have plans at a lot of, it's a pretty hefty capital expense, but
Yeah.
absolutely over time, they do well. And we've talked about looking at the rates, but we want to keep them affordable for birthday parties and families. But, I think that's worth a discussion.
That's great.
We could tell you, you know, we haven't put up a map in a while, how many are out there. Some parks have multiple ones. Where would another one go? You could put another one out at Stubby, and it would be rented immediately. You could put another one at the Splash Park, and it would be rented almost immediately. That was all year. So it's absolutely worth a discussion as we get into that.
Right. And then you said the pickleball is ahead of schedule, or they just?
So they have their window, but they are moving faster than we thought they would. So we're hopeful that, you know, we'll get it, you know, this early fall. You know, it's scheduled for late fall, but maybe even early fall to get back out there playing. So,
Oh, great. Okay.
yeah, it's
And
going
did
well.
the tape work?
Out at David Brewer Park.
Yeah.
I haven't been out there to watch.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
So what Mayor Pro Tem Pittman is referring to is the pickleballers are out at David Brewer Park temporarily while we complete the dedicated pickleball.
Yeah, and we've got some tennis tournaments coming up
Absolutely.
too, so we've
A
got
lot
to
going
keep
on
those,
out at David Brewer Park.
keep
Well,
those open
thank you.
for
That was a great update, and I just want to give a plug for the Leavenworth Education Foundation is doing Leavenworth's first annual ever, I think, meat raffle. That's what I said, but basically there's they happen post World War II where they put all their food together and they kind of this meat raffle, and they're very popular in the north. You probably heard of them.
Yep.
You're from Wisconsin, and so we're doing one this weekend. It's from 3 to 5 at the Eagles. If anyone's interested in winning some meat. It's gonna be, stakes are high, but. Thank you.
I don't have anything to add. I just got back from Colorado and it's much warmer here. I love it. It's nice to see spring coming.
Yep, I just want to say, man, thanks, Paul, for the update. A lot of great things happening in this community. God bless and have a great weekend.
Cool deal. And I know we don't get a lot of times to, as a body, to discuss different issues together until we're here at the table in our meetings or discussion meetings that we have, study sessions. But I want to take the time real quick, if I could ask, I know we all talking about the library appointee motion that I made earlier. A lot of us kind of said what we did based off of what constituents said out there, emails we received, contact we had. I would like to ask, anybody that voted no, if there was any other reasons besides hearing from constituents or anything that you could offer up.
We didn't ask you that last year.
Well, you absolutely could have. It's.
I suppose we could have, but.
And so I'm asking now because we don't often talk about these things.
I just,
Well, that's my
No.
biggest concern. Like, the constituents, they do not want our library board to be politicized. I don't like politics when it comes to individuals volunteering to serve on the board. I think politics should be removed. You should focus on the community as a whole. Not so much of a party's agenda, but the people's agenda. So that's what I'm saying though as well.
No, I appreciate that, Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Pittman, any
Nice,
comments?
I agree with Jermaine.
Well, whether or not, I just want to say this, and really kind of to our city, whether or not it's a personal, it's cited as being personal or political, I think it's very clear, and I think it's important that our residents really understand that we make our decisions sitting here in front of these microphones, in front of you, based on our worldviews. And that's a very real thing. I know when we run for office, we don't have party affiliations necessarily tied to our names. And I think at the end of the day, people want to know decisions, why we make the decisions we make. I've told many people many times that being here in the city, 85% of what we do comes down to different policies, code, this or that, or things that seem like they're more administrative. There's a few things that come up that definitely have a big impact on the community in a lot of different ways. And I know it's not comfortable to talk about all the time, and it's not always popular, but I think it is something that people need to realize. Your voice can be heard, and like I said, where we stand on our worldview is a lot of times what dictates the decisions that we make. So I have nothing further to add, but I do appreciate everybody that came out tonight. And I will see you at the city cleanup day on April 20th. And with that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.